episode of Tulsa Little Jam. We're very excited to be here with you. This is our final episode, special edition episode, coming at you from Tulsa's great raft race. So we've had a lot of fun. Yeah, I heard some crazy guys behind us screaming. We love them. Yes, you're in the wrong place, though. You should be out here watching. So we're very happy, and I'm very excited to be closing out this special edition episode with somebody that I feel like we tried a few times to get him on, and there was like scheduling issues and stuff, because he's kind of a big deal. So I'm going to let him rock and roll to show you why he's a big deal. Put your hands together, guys, for Jesse Joice. He needs the microphone.
Down up in this little town for at least an hour or two. All I'm thinking now is let's ditch the crowd. There's some one-on-one I'm looking forward to. Oh no, don't get me wrong, I'm having a real good time, but I can't wait for tomorrow to bring its morning. Wake up and see a smile so shy without makeup. We'll snap a selfie with our bed heads all a mess. Drink too much coffee, put some music in the air. Dance around the living room in our underwear. I couldn't dream of a better day for you and I. Honey, this ain't just some song about tonight. We're on the same page, I can tell by the way you chug that last glass of wine. I'll go pay the tab and you call a cab. Let's slip out without telling our friends goodbye. Oh no, it won't take long, they'll forget we even left, and we'll be alone back at home doing what we do best. Yeah, I'm gonna watch your sleepy eyes wake up and see you smile so shy without makeup. We'll snap a selfie with our bed heads all a mess. Drink too much coffee, put some music in the air. Dance around the living room in our underwear. I couldn't dream of a better day for you and I. Honey, this ain't just some song about tonight. Coffee, put some music in the air. Dance around the living room in our underwear. I couldn't dream of a better day for you and I. Honey, this ain't just some song. This ain't just some song about tonight. Oh no, some song about tonight. Ooh. All right. Thank you.
This season of Tulsa Little Jam is presented by...
I feel like I had to book you like months in advance to be able to make this work.
Yeah, I think it was back in May we started talking about it. I'm very happy to be a part of it. Very happy. I was last night actually binge watching episodes.
Oh, really? Were you really?
Yeah, I meant to get on, and I was just like, I'm just going to watch a few to get comfortable with everything. And I've seen the show before, but I wanted to, get, familiar, a little more familiar with it. And I watched like 5.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it, man. Killer show. Very good show.
We try. We have a great crew. But just like just like you have to have a great band behind you and stuff. You know, it helps to have like a really great crew that put up with my insanity.
Oh, absolutely. It takes a team. It takes a village, right?
So I want to hear the background on Jesse Joice. Tell me, because you are an Okie.
I am an Okie. I was born in Tulsa, and I guess around one, moved to Nashville. My family moved to Nashville. My parents were in a band, actually. My mom and dad were in a band with my aunt and uncle, and that's how my mom and dad met. So I was just born into it, and we went to Nashville, and for about 10 years there, they played around that town. And then we came back to Oklahoma, and that's kind of when I started playing guitar. I took lessons from my grandmother, some family friends, and family as well. And then started getting into bands and stuff, and singing and songwriting. And about 20, I'm 31 now, so a little over a decade, I've been able to do it for full time.
So when were you? So you were born into music, basically. So would you?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were forced into it, or is it something that you knew you loved from the
No,
get-go?
it was definitely, I was, going out to see him. Sometimes we'd go out, and I know it's like a little, you're not supposed to do this, but my mom would take my brother and I to the venues they were playing, and we'd kind of be in the back, and we were young, just hanging out any night they were playing. Mostly it was weekends, and stuff like that. But yeah, we were surrounded by it. And it just felt, at first it was like one of those, like, this is cool. This looks cool. Right. And when you get into music, I'm sure everybody's kind of like, they want to be a part of something cool or anything, baseball, football, anything. You just want to be, and that was the first, that's cool. I want to do something cool, So yeah, it was never forced. It was very natural, just kind of, wanting to do that.
See, for me, I love everybody does think music is cool, So yeah, you're like, yeah, man, that's badass.
Yeah, I want to do that. It was that for me. It was that or baseball, and I got into baseball. I got into Little League, and it was like a terrible experience. I wasn't good. First, I just thought if you wanted to do it and you thought you could do it, you just did it. You go and do that. And so for me, baseball was not it. I love it so much, and all my buddies were doing it. I was like, I'm going to do that too, but no, I couldn't do it. But I could do guitar and I could sing. So I was like, let's try this a little harder, do that. And so I did that and got into high school band and stuff and did that whole thing too.
So so there you go. See, high school band's not that cool. And me, I was I was musical theater and theater.
Oh.
So I was definitely, but I was cool because I also played sports.
You're still cool.
So just so we know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. And it was always one of those things too, to where I could play between, like, hanging out with the jocks and the musicians. I mean, how you get the segregation thing too. A lot of times, I kind of lucked out and was able to kind of ride somewhere in between a little bit. I think, because I've also played. I don't know if it's because I was in marching band all through high school and stuff. Or no, I guess half of high school. And then
it's okay if it was all high school. You can admit it.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to get the timeline right. And then I actually started playing music with my dad. My dad and I had a band when I was like a junior in high school, and we'd play during the weekend. So it was. I think that's why I was able to kind of, to ride down the middle and kind of have friends on both sides of the jocks and the band thing. Sometimes it gets segregated sometimes, so I had buddies on both sides there. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hung out with every demographic when I was growing up.
Man. There you go.
I didn't want to be. You can't put me in a corner. You can't put Jesse Joice in the corner.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by
I've turned over a new leaf, that's right. Faced a killer work week, but I survived. Normally I hit the boards up at quitting time. I can just hear 'em now, raising hell right about sundown. When they catch wind that I ain't going out. Tonight I'm a Lone Ranger in a Chevy truck. Got the phone shut off, rolled the windows up, cranked the satellite radio way down. Silver white horses are the only sound. No, I ain't getting wild, but I'm once I took things slow and got the edge knocked off by laying low. Now and then this life can stack up a heavy toll. I like to unload by being alone. Tonight I'm a Lone Ranger in a Chevy truck. Got the phone shut off, roll the windows up, crank the satellite radio way down. Silverado horses are the only sound. No, I ain't getting wild, but I am living free. An empty shotgun seat makes perfect company. Sober as a cold stone, but I've never felt so high. Riding solo. Tonight I'm a Lone Ranger in a Chevy truck. Got the phone shut off, rolled the windows up, cranked the satellite radio way down. Silverado horses are the only sound. No, I ain't getting wild, but I'm living free. An empty shotgun seat makes perfect company. Sober as a cold stone, but I've never felt so high. Riding solo. Riding solo. Thank you so much.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by.
So that progression then, after high school, we got into what?
Right after high school, I got into my first cover band and started playing a lot of the casinos around town, which kind of helped me hone, the craft of just playing full shows. You're doing like a full night of music, which is usually 3 one-hour sets. And then that's when I started really getting into songwriting and kind of honing my own sound and songwriting craft. I think early 20s. I was in that band for a few years, a band called Another Alibi. And after that, I met a good guy in town. He came out to see a show. His name was Gary Morgan, and he really helped me kind of hone that. And he helped me co-write a lot of the songs on my first album. Huh. And he just really took me under his wing. He rolled the dice on that one, and I just kept showing up for writing sessions, and we made we made it happen. He helped me out a whole lot.
And then, so eventually, talk to me about what made your decision to. Everybody, in case the world, I'm sure they have not forgotten because you're still very young, is you tried out for American Idol.
I did. I think I was 20, maybe 24, 20. I think 23 or 24, I believe. And I went. I'd been reluctant. I didn't want to. It was one of those things where, for some reason, I didn't want that to be part of the path. I felt at first I was like, oh, this is, that's kind of like an easy way to do it, or something that the guys I looked up to didn't do per se. And Idol had come to Oklahoma City, and I was off that weekend that they were there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. And we went, and we turned around. It was my wife and I. We turned around 3 times. I changed my mind 3 times to do it, and then we ended up making it there, and I signed the contract and did the audition. You've got to get through, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I think you can. I don't know. There's preliminary rounds before you get to the celebrity rounds. I think that's publicly known, right?
Oh,
we can talk about that. So you get
Believe
through,
it or not, you are not my first Idol contestant on the show.
Oh, good.
So you made it through the preliminary rounds.
Yeah,
into the celebrity rounds.
there was about 5 of those, and then made through the celebrity rounds, and then got passed through and went to Hollywood, made it through several rounds there. It was one of those things. I'm singer, songwriter, and guitar player, and so when I was doing Idol, it was the last year that they were not allowing you to have an instrument, and so for me, it was anytime you take away songwriting or guitar playing, for me, it's just kind of I feel naked a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was, I knew it was a long shot from the get-go, but I thought if I could just get far enough to where they'd allow me to have a guitar, you know, and then I could say, you know, this is what it is, you know. But yeah, unfortunately, I got cut short there. I made it a few rounds into Hollywood. After group round, I got cut and came back home. But yeah, a good experience. I learned a lot, and you know, I'm thankful for what it was.
Yeah, but I mean, if anything, I would think that at least kind of gave you like a sort of a rude awakening as to how intense the business side of music and film can be.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, it was very. It felt foreign, like I said, and it. When I was voted off, I was just like, thank God. I mean, it was like a sigh of relief. And I don't know, you know, maybe the pressure, everything, and it was very fast paced. And the year I was there, they picked your group for you, and then they gave you like 3 songs you could pick from to perform, and 3 of which I didn't know. And so you kind of had to memorize those songs overnight to perform them on TV the next day. A little much for, at least for me. The other guys seemed to do okay, you know, but too much pressure for me, man. Too much learning over one in one night.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by...
This next song is another song that's going to be on my upcoming album called Whose Side Are You On? It all looks good on paper when I'm drunk on love. I guess I never read the danger this girl will tear you up. Her peg bag, she'll pack the punch. She rushed out my front door with my favorite t-shirt on. She's so mean, but I think I miss her. I've been asking my heart questions since she went away. Like how am I so torn between new pleasure and old pain? I should be long gone, moved on, not hung up in my past. But you still give her memory a home. Foolish heart, whose side are you on? Puzzled by all the pieces of mind games she played. I found it hard finding the reasons to wish she would have stayed. She could never have too much. Give her the world on a string, it wouldn't be enough. I've been asking my heart questions since she went away. Like how am I so torn between new pleasure and old pain? I should be long gone, moved on, not hung up in my past. But you still give her memory a home. Foolish heart, whose side are you on? She pushed and pulled me through the ringer. Somehow I'm still wrapped around her finger. I've been asking my heart questions since she went away. Like how am I so torn between new pleasure and old pain? I should be long gone, moved on, not hung up in my past. But you still give her memory a home. Foolish heart, whose side are you on? Yeah, whose
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by...
What is the ultimate goal then for Jesse Joice? Today's Jesse Joice.
I think it's definitely changed, especially in the past few years. You know, obviously my dreams are still as high as you can go. You know, I shoot for that, but I think I've spent a lot of time focusing too much on that and kind of not necessarily ignoring where I am, but not really taking advantage and kind of like taking in the process in itself. So I think now it's just I'm spending more time enjoying where I am, and you know, spending a lot of time writing, recording, and putting out new music, and you know, just trying, you know, to expand my audience as much as I can. Play different towns and venues I haven't played before, to just kind of you know pounding the pavement, I guess, just so to speak.
Yeah, no, but I mean that's actually a very good point, and a lot of artists lose sight of that and stuff. They put their dreams solely on like the ultimate thing, and they completely forget to focus on steps. You can't just leap over that.
Exactly.
You know, you have to take those steps and appreciate the moments that you're in.
And it's very easy to ignore where you are when you're not, when you're not present. With anything really, and it's a daily thing where you're just like, we're here today. This is what we got. This is what we're doing. This is what we can do to move forward. Let's do that.
You're even more proof that there is like an immense amount of talent here that is discoverable. You know what I mean? That Oklahoma, especially Tulsa, has like this crazy pool of talent, and it still completely astounds me how many new acts I keep listening to that I'm like, where do these guys keep coming from? So
yeah, absolutely, man. And funny you say, my wife and I have been making a point to go out at least once or twice a month to go, see new acts or see somebody that we haven't seen in a while. And actually, Matt Maxwell, the guy who played bass with us today, I met him today. And my bass player that normally plays with us, Todd Shaver, wasn't able to make the show, so I just sent him all the music, and he showed up and played it. We'd never met, and we met like 20 minutes before the show, and he's a perfect example of what you're talking about. Yeah, he nailed it.
I mean, I don't know if that's commonplace, but that to me is pretty astounding. To be able to nail it that easily and stuff. It's pretty incredible.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by...
Girl, quit running from who he's made you become. Revenge looks summer dress hard on you. Go on, show him how you're better off without. Surrender into his selfish moves. Paint the town, board a flight, be anywhere but home tonight. Get out there and live your life. You ain't no hang around just in case safety net. You are that free fall feeling every guy wants to catch. Don't let nobody make you think you're less than that. You ain't no fallback fan. He'll reach out to you, though he's with someone new. The so-called love might come crashing down. Hold your head up high, let go of your goodbye. Say hello to the freedom you found. You ain't no hang around just in case safety net. You are that free fall feeling every guy wants to catch. Don't let nobody make you think you're less than that. You ain't no fallback. Thank you.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by...
So what's next then, actually, for Jesse Joice?
I'm just, like I said, just writing and recording as much as possible. And I've got a new album coming out later this year. I've been working with a company in Nashville called Century Music Group. I've got a new producer named Art Ward, and we're working hard to kind of, establish the road ahead. And for us, it's all about getting in front of new faces, new venues, whether it's just me and an acoustic guitar or full band, which I love. I love both for different reasons, but we're kind of doing the slow and steady thing, kind of, not trying to rush anything, but definitely making progress as we go forward.
Do you get to tour a lot?
I don't. We play a lot in the tri-state area. We've never actually booked a tour. And that's definitely something that I've always wanted to do. And even being an opening act for a national headliner, if we could jump onto something like that, I've always wanted to do that. That's a big dream of mine. Just go around the nation playing your stuff. That's on the bucket list.
But you actually you make a full-time living at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I mean, that's to me, that's something that's worth noting, is that it is possible to be here and still make an actual full-time living playing music.
Yeah, and thank you for saying. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I know a lot of parents are hesitant when their kid comes home and they say, "I want to be this. I want to do that," and they're like, "No, you're not, because you need to get a degree, you need to do this and stuff." But the possibility is there, and you're further proof of that.
Right. Well, thank you for saying.
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by...
Once again, my name is Jesse Joice. Y'all give it up one more time for Matt Maxwell over here on the bass guitar. Teddy Scott on electric guitar and vocals. Jared Mann back here on the drums. We're gonna close out the set with the title track, a song I wrote for my first album, a song called Oklahoma Weather. She let her hair down under neon lights, rocking that hot body to the band, had the dance floor electrified. For a moment her eyes met mine while I was there chilling with some friends. They said, "Man, she'll take your heart by storm. Watch out, don't get sucked in. That girl's like Oklahoma weather. One minute it's all sunshine, in a flash there's a reckless twister ripping through your life. Take cover on and hide. A boy from Tulsa out of nowhere. You don't mess with Oklahoma weather." I was hypnotized, her low-rise Levi's had me in a spin. Time flew by, she had wound up in my arms, two-stepping until 2 a.m. Without warning, she said goodbye, blew me a kiss and ran out the door. I thought, man, you can't chase her down, you've been told once before. But I did, now I know for sure. That girl's like Oklahoma weather. One minute it's all sunshine, in a flash there's a reckless twister ripping through your life. Take
This episode of Tulsa Little Jam is brought to you by...
So I'm really excited, guys. Thank you so much to Jesse Joice for being here on the season 2 closing episode of Tulsa Little Jam. And let's give it up one more time, guys, for Jesse Joice. Jesse Joice, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you once again for joining us to this special edition series of tapings of Tulsa Little Jam, guys. We will see you on the next one. That was a very creepy sign out, but you're going to have to live with it. Thanks so much, guys.
Watch your sleepy eyes wake up and see you smile so shy without makeup. We'll snap a selfie with our bed heads off.